Hey guys, it's Dizzy Sizzy TV.
Right.
We're going to do a story time today about our horrible chemistry experience, the class, the teacher, the regents, everything you can think of about chemistry.
We're going to cover because we had a very bad time in the class.
We had a terrible experience.
So we should first talk about the teacher herself.
We'll just call her Miss Frizzle.
She seemed like a nice lady on the first day.
Yeah, like, I was so excited. I was like, yes, I have a good chemistry teacher. I'll be able to learn in this class, you know, all of that stuff. I was excited.
But she happened to explain to us how she'd won, like, the first warning bell that she hadn't taught in 10 years. Like, this was her first year back, was our
because she decided to raise her 3 kids.
Instead of teach. And she also majored in biology, which is not a problem, but this is a chemistry course, right?
And she never took the course that she was teaching.
No, she never took
Regents Chemistry.
And that's what she didn't know anything about the course, basically. And she often used the phrase, I'm learning with you guys. When we would get frustrated with her because we would do worksheets with her and she would get, like, all of them wrong. Like, literally all of them wrong. And then, like, this smart girl in our class named, we're gonna call her Wanda. She would, like, raise her hand and be like, Miss Frizzle, that's not correct.
And she would basically teach the class.
She would just have her come up and be like, okay, we'll show them, and then she would just teach us all the time.
Yeah. And, like, we would take notes and then have to go back and redo them the next day. She would be like, sorry, guys, like, I just messed up this entire note sheet, which you wrote in pen.
So we, like, basically were really, really behind in the year. Like, I would talk to my other friends in different chemistry classes, and they were like, oh, yeah, we're on Unit 6, and I'm like, what? We're still on, like, Unit 3. Like, not even exaggerating.
Like, seriously.
Like, seriously, that's how bad it was. And no one was doing anything about it.
Exactly.
So that's basically, like, introduction to our teacher.
Yeah. Alright. So, our chemistry class was no ordinary chemistry class. It was probably the worst behaved class you have ever seen in your entire life.
Like, not even exaggerating. Like, not even actually exaggerating. There was kids who straight up disrespected the teacher to her face.
Like,
wrote things like, she's the worst teacher ever. People actually, like, vaped in my class.
If you went in after, like, our class was done, she would be crying. Like, our Mrs. Frizzle would be sobbing.
I know. It was really bad. Because of the fact that we were really badly behaved and we talked to each other, she decided that she wanted to move our seats. Now, that wouldn't be a problem, but me and Izzy were sitting next to each other at the time, and that was the only way I was, frankly, passing the class.
Yeah.
And, so, I kind of regret some of the things I did, but I was angry because I didn't want to be switched seats.
Yeah, me too.
And she was being really mean to us about it, even though we were actually
like, we were respecting her, like, asking her questions, telling her, like, she was doing a good job today, or, like, asking about her kids, like, whatever.
We were actually being nice compared to the others. But, you know, she would yell at us mostly, like, oh, sir, what are you doing? So, she kept me at the same place and put Izzy way over across the room. And
with people that I have such a bad history with, like, you don't even know. I'm not gonna get into it, but
with people that just, like, aren't good to sit with at all. So, Izzy, tell what you decided to do.
So I decided that I was going to go with go and talk to the person that she switched my seat with and say, hey, I'm going to sit here. You're going to sit in your original spot, and that's what we're gonna do. And so that's what we did. And the first day, it was fine. Like, she didn't do anything. And then, when we continued to do it, she continued to yell at us, and she wouldn't actually, like, give us a referral or anything. Like, she would just, like, yell at us.
And literally take up, like, 20 minutes of class time screaming at everyone, because no one would do the, like, sit in their assigned seats, because everyone was like, fuck that.
Yeah, everyone just would sit next to, like, whoever they wanted to.
Where they were originally sitting, because we were happy where we originally sat.
Exactly. Alright, so you know how I said that I was a good behaved student, constantly, like, telling her she was doing a good job, or, like, asking about her kids, you know, whatever. Alright, so this is when the, like, major trouble started happening, and, like, people, like, were at their highest level
This
of
was
disrespect.
Like halfway through the year, I'd say.
Yes,
Like January,
about,
February.
yeah. And so people started whistling, which is, like, so dumb. Like, they would just whistle, like, constantly.
Like, just whistle like she'd be teaching, and they'd be like just like,
yeah, like just
just
like not even
shit.
like it would
Not
just
even
be,
a
like
song.
random whistling.
Not
like,
just a song, just like I can't whistle well.
Yeah.
Like basically just whistling.
Right. All right. So like she can whistle, right? I can't whistle. Like watch. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like I never learned anything. Anyway, so because people were whistling so much, she decided to like send them down to the AP office, assistant principal. And like the assistant principal would give them a referral because they were like behaving badly in class and like whistling. Right. So I get called down to the office, right? And actually Sarah was called down to the office too, but it was for a different reason.
Yeah,
so I figured like it was just the same reason as her
It was just
for me
for my
like
schedule, yeah.
that's what I thought it would be too. Cuz like I couldn't whistle, like obviously I'm not going to get in trouble, right? So I go down to the office. And this is the literal conversation that happened between us.
I'm queen of the school. Anyway, hello Isabel. I've heard that there's been some disrespect and whistling going on in your class. Can you tell me about it?
Yes. So it's mainly like these 4 guys. I named names, but I won't name them now. And they've been whistling and just saying rude comments to the teacher and everything. There's a couple girls that have been doing it too. It's mainly because they got split up and they're not sitting next to each other anymore.
Okay, so were you involved in this?
No, I wasn't.
Hello, Isabel. I've heard that there's been some disrespect and whistling going on in your class. Can you tell me about it?
Yes. So it's mainly like these 4 guys. And they've been whistling and just saying rude comments to the teacher and everything. There's a couple girls that have been doing it too. It's mainly because they got split up and they're not sitting next to each other anymore.
Okay, so were you involved in this?
No, I wasn't.
Well, thank you, Isabella. You will be getting a referral. Don't worry about it.
So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird that she would say, like, you're not getting a referral or whatever. But yeah, so I didn't really think much about it. And then the next day when I get to class, I come in and this is what my teacher, Mrs. Frizzle, says.
Hey, Izzy, I'm so sorry. You weren't supposed to be on the referral list. You're a very good girl. Don't worry about it.
So, but literally, she just said like, "Oh, don't worry, you're not on the referral list. You're not gonna get a referral." But then this Frizzle says that I was literally on the referral list, so she lied to me. My assistant principal lied to me. Like, what the actual fuck?
So,
Alright,
so now we're gonna move on to kind of like my kind of story, my experience.
yes.
So as I told you, there's many bad behaved people in our class. So eventually, I got switched to the back of the class with the worst people to sit with, basically. Arnold, Tim, and Keisha. Now Keisha sat next to me, and in front of her was Arnold, and next to him was Tim. I didn't do any learning when I sat back there. Basically, all they did was shit talk Miss Frizzle and, you know, just like never do any of their work. And we had to do like partner work and stuff like that and like labs and everything.
Yeah.
And I could never get it done because they just...
yeah, like unless I would force her to work with me.
Because they just refused to do it. Like, they just refused to do it. And so I would get in trouble because of them.
Yeah.
And I would ask Miss Frizzle, can I move? Can I please move? And she's like, no, you're fine. Just sit there. You know, whatever, you're fine. But I wasn't. So I'm gonna recreate a little thing that happened in one of the classes that I just thought was so... So, one time, Arnold, who sat in front of Keisha, said,
"Hey man, fuck Miss Frizzle, man. I'm gonna vape into my backpack."
And he literally took a hit of the vape and blew it into the backpack with the teacher right at the front of the room. And like all the kids were like cackling in the back, and I'm like, are you actually stupid? But the thing is, I think if Miss Frizzle found out, like, she wouldn't even do anything. That's
She
the
wouldn't.
funny thing. Like, she would just be like, stop it. But like, she wouldn't do anything because she had no backbone. Just okay, so yeah, she basically just yelled at the people that were good and
Didn't give a shit about the people who
were
weren't.
actually misbehaving.
Alright guys, so this is story number 4 and probably the one that affected me the most because it's actually talking about some pretty awful things that happened in my life. Anyway, so basically, I'm not going to tell you like what was wrong, but I had to get an ultrasound. I was not pregnant, nothing like that. It just, they had to check something in my like belly area. And like, ultrasounds aren't only for when you're pregnant. Just know that, okay? Anyway, so I did that, and then I came in late, and second block was when we had chemistry with Mrs. Frizzle, and so, like, I was also getting blood work done for, I don't know why, but yeah. So when I was getting blood work done, like, the previous day, there was a boy in, like, a couple towns over from us who got hit by a car. And we didn't know who that was until the next day, and my dad told me who it was, and he was one of my friends, that I'd known for a long time. I mean, we hadn't really talked in a long time, but I knew him at one point, and so, like, obviously it's gonna affect me. And so, like, while I was with my dad, I wouldn't let any emotion show, because, like, I just didn't, I don't know, I'm that kind of person. And so then, once I got to school, I went to my locker and everything, and then like, almost, like, as soon as I got to the door, like, I was almost at the door of the chemistry classroom, I just started, like, bawling my eyes out, like, crying, like, harder than I've literally ever cried in my entire life, because, like, I just didn't know what to do. Like, he wasn't pronounced dead yet, but, you know. Anyway, so then I walked into the classroom, like, bawling my eyes out, crying, like, harder than I ever did in my entire life. And instead of, like, going and sitting in my seat, I went and sat next to Sarah because, like, why would I, you know? And so, I, like, wrote Sarah a little note, like, telling her what happened and everything because I literally couldn't talk. I couldn't get any words out of my mouth. And anyway, this is basically what happened. So I walk in the class and I'm crying and I'm, like, my hands over my face because I don't really want anyone to see me, so I'm like,
Hey, Izzy, you okay?
ring, ring. She called the nurse. And so, this is when I walk over to Sarah and, like, sit down and I'm crying and I write her a little note. And so, Keisha decides to be a good person and says this to Mrs.
She's like,
Frizzle.
hang up the phone, girl. Stop bothering her. She wants to be left alone. I wouldn't want anyone up in my business when I'm crying. But, they got in a huge argument, and
she ended up getting kicked out of the class and getting a referral just for me. And, like, that actually made me feel pretty good because, like, I was obviously in a bad place, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened that day. And then, so later that day in, like, study block, it's like homeroom, I get called down to the nurse. And the nurse, and I say, oh, hello, I'm Isabel, I'm here, you called me down. So we walk into the other room, and the nurse, like, sits in a chair, and I sit next to her, and this is what happens.
Is there anything you'd like to tell me?
No.
Well, someone, I can't say who, said you're pregnant.
No, I'm not. I got an ultrasound to look at something in my stomach, not a baby.
Oh, you're not? Then can you tell me why you were crying?
My friend got hit by a car, and I just found out about it like 5 minutes before I got into class.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Yeah, so, the nurse is very nice and everything. I understand why she had to do that, but it was just very annoying. Like, she wouldn't tell me who it was or anything, so the next day... Of course. The next day, I go to Mrs. Frizzle and decide, because I know that it's her. Like, obviously, it's her that said something. So I go to her, and I decide to confront her, and this is what happens. Alright, So I go up to her and, like, while she's just in the, at her desk, and I say, so I was called down to the nurse yesterday, and she asked me if I was pregnant, which I'm not. I know that you were the one who said that, like, why would you do that?
No, I didn't tell the nurse anything.
And then she decided to take me into another room, and I said, well, I know that one of my teachers did, and I'm pretty sure it was you, so could you just admit to it?
Okay, yes, I did, but it was because I was concerned for you. And a parent emailed saying they were concerned. I talked to my mentor about it, and that's what they said I should do.
Why would you do, like, you should have talked to me about it first. Like, I know that I wasn't talking to you in class, but that's because I was crying. You should have had me stay after class and talk to me about it, because, like, that's a serious accusation. Like, you can't just accuse me of being pregnant without any, like, facts or anything. So, whose parent?
Well, I can't tell you that.
But it's about me. Like, they are saying stuff about me that's not true. So, why can't you tell me?
I'm sorry. Like,
and that's all she did. Like, that's... Sorry, it makes me very mad.
So, basically, we've had really bad experience with this teacher. So I think finally we can discuss the Regents exam. The Regents exam, which is the whole point we're taking the class, is to get to the Regents exam.
Yeah. So, she didn't study with us because we were still working on the last unit. She gave us a review packet, but didn't assign it for homework, so we didn't do it.
Like, yeah, and she made us, like, keep it in class for, like, the whole time, basically.
Exactly, the entire time. And so, Regents comes, we do it, we get our score. I passed.
I didn't at all, and most people in the class didn't.
Literally.
And so
no one, almost all of her students failed or got a really bad score. And so, my dad is the president of the school board, so he knows, like, everything that's going on in the school. And this year, we decided to go look to see if she's still there.
Yeah, we wanted to walk by.
And
guess who isn't there?
Mrs. Frizzle. And, like, they didn't even change, like, the thing. They just
taped
someone else's name and, like, a piece of paper. And so I talked to my dad about it. I was like, oh, Mrs. Frizzle isn't there anymore. And he was like, well, I can't tell you why, but she's not on the teacher roster anymore. And I was like, wonder why.
So basically, that was our
chemistry horror stories.
So we hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and let us know if you want to hear more story times, because we have a lot. Alright, bye y'all.
Bye.